Hey guys, so in this video I'm going to be working through some problems from the trig in motion homework assignment. So I just want to get started. I'm just going to kind of start with number 1, part A. We have that f of t is t squared times sine t. And we're looking for f prime of t. I know that I'm going to have to use the product rule because I have the product of two functions of t. Okay, so I'm going to set it up over here using the butterfly technique. So for this technique, we write the functions on the first line and then the derivatives on the second line. So the derivative of t squared is 2t. The derivative of sine of t is cosine t. Okay, and then for the product rule, you're just going to multiply the diagonals and then we will add them together. So that f prime of t equals t squared times cosine t plus 2t times sine of t. And that's it. That's your final answer. Okay. You can't multiply this t with the inside t or this t with that inside t. That's all. We can't reduce anymore. Okay. Let's see. Number 1, I think 1b was okay. I do want to take a look at 1 part D. So we have g of t is the fourth root of t plus 6 times cosecant of t. Okay, I don't have to use any fancy rules here. I'm just going to have to use rules that we've done in the past. So before I take the derivative of this, I want it to look like t to some power of n. Okay, and this is to the first power on the inside, and I know that if you have t inside of a root and it's to the 8th power and the b is the root, then you can write that as t to the power of a divided by b. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So let me rewrite g of t is t to the 1/4 power plus 6 times cosecant t. Now I can take the derivative. Because I have it to the power of n, I can use the power rule. So g prime of t is going to be, if I bring the 1/4 down, 1/4 to the power of t, and this will be 1/4 minus 1, plus 6 times the derivative of cosecant t. Okay, and the derivative of cosecant t is negative cosecant t times cotangent t. So let me simplify that. This would be 1/4 t, 1/4 minus 1 off to the side here. If I have 1/4 and 1 is the same thing as 4/4, so this would be minus 3/4. So this to the minus 3/4 power. I have a minus. This is all multiplied by 6, so this would be minus 6 cosecant t times cotangent t. And that would be your final answer for part D. So you could express this as 1/4 t to the positive 3/4 if we move it to the denominator. And that would be it. 1 part we did 1E in class, so I want to look at 1F. I think that was one that caused some people some problems. Okay, so for 1f, we have that y equals negative cosecant x minus sine x. Okay? So for y prime, it's going to be negative. A negative times the derivative of cosecant. So the derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant cotangent. And again, this is multiplied in here. I just don't write the dot. Minus the derivative of sine, which is cosine. So we have cosecant cotangent plus cosine x if I distribute the negative. And, oh, I should not have what was I doing? I added one too many parentheses here. So this is here, and this sign should still be negative. I apologize. This should be negative for this, and this is negative for that. Okay, so from here, there's a little bit of a manipulation that goes on. So cosecant, I'm going to write as 1 over sine of x. Cotangent, I'm going to write as cosine of x over sine of x. And then we have the cosine left from before. So we can pull out a common term of cosine x that I see in both. So over here, I am left with 1 over sine squared of x minus, if I factor out a cosine here, it's 1. Okay, so I have a cosine x. Sine squared is cosecant squared minus 1. And this is actually a trig identity. So off to the side here, we know that sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. So I'm interested in cosecant squared. I know that cosecant is 1 over sine squared. So I'm going to divide through by sine squared. I'm allowed to do that. I'm just dividing the entire equation by sine squared. So I am left with sine squared over sine squared, which is 1, plus cosine squared over sine squared is cotangent squared. And 1 over sine squared is cosecant squared. So cosecant squared minus 1, if I move that 1 over on this side, would just be cotangent squared. So we can rewrite this as cosine x times, and replace this with cotangent squared. And that could be your final answer. I would also like to go over 1. So this was 1f. I'm going to go over 1h as well. So for this one, y equals 2x sine x plus x squared cosine x. So I'm going to wrap my x's with parentheses to remind myself they're the inside of sine and cosine. So x squared times cosine x, you can't multiply those x's together. Okay, this one's on the outside, this one's on the inside. Okay, so in order to take the derivative, I notice that this is a product of two functions and this is a product of two functions. So I'm going to have to use the product rule twice. Okay, so for the first product rule, let me write the two functions right here. So 2x times sine x, so the derivative of 2x is 2. The derivative of sine is cosine x. So if we cross, butterfly multiply, the derivative of just this term is 2x cosine x plus 2 sine x. And then for here, x squared cosine x. So the derivative of x squared is 2x. The derivative of cosine is negative sine. So if I butterfly, again, this is the derivative here. So now we want to find the derivative of this guy. So we're going to add on to it 2x cosine x minus x squared sine x. So these guys will combine to be 4x cosine x, and we have a plus 2 sine x minus x squared sine x. And this would be y prime here that we have found. Okay. So that'll be it for this video. I think that the other ones were okay.